Imagine walking into your garden and being greeted by the rustling of new leaves, the shimmer of sunlight on fresh blooms, and the earthy scent of moist soil wrapping around you like a hug. Today, we're breathing new life into the landscape with 7 beautiful new trees and a splash of sweet violas. It's not just planting, it's crafting a future forest, one root ball at a time. It's a gorgeous day, and there's no better way to spend it than planting new life into the soil. The goal? To plant 5 beautiful spring grove arborvitaes, a stately autumn blaze maple, and an enchanting strawberry moon chitalpa tree. These aren't just any trees, they're B&B, or balled and burlap, which means their roots are tightly wrapped and need care right away. When we receive B&B trees, we either heal them in lining them up and covering their root balls in mulch, or we try to get them planted immediately to keep them from drying out. Today, we're going for the latter, planting them straight into the ground. Planting deciduous trees while they're dormant gives them the best shot at waking up in their forever home with less transplant shock. And that's exactly what we're doing with the autumn blaze maple, one of the extras delivered for our driveway lane. We initially thought we'd need 6, but only planted 5. Having an extra on hand is actually a blessing, a kind of insurance tree that's ready to fill in if one of the planted ones fails. It's tough to match the size later if needed, so this one gets a special spot as a backup, part of our long game in garden planning. As for the stunning strawberry moon chitalpa, it's going into the open dirt lands near the back of the horse paddock fence. The spring grove arborvitaes will fill in visual gaps along the row of towering evergreens we planted earlier. These ARBs are perfect for the job. They're narrow, topping out at 10 to 12 feet wide, and soft-textured, meaning they blend beautifully with surrounding plants without overwhelming them. Aaron arrives with the tractor as the kids play nearby, turning the hill into a fort of imagination. For the arborvitaes, we'll wait until the holes are ready before positioning them. But the big trees, like the maple and chitalpa, need to be placed before digging. They're just too heavy and awkward to move once they're planted. By staging them first, we can step back, assess their position, and adjust them to perfection. While considering the perfect spot for the extra autumn blaze maple, we bounced around a few ideas. Initially, we thought about planting it near a trio of planned locusts, but shifted focus toward the Dream Stream area, which is slightly shaded by box elder trees. Their orange fall foliage echoes the red of the autumn blaze, making it a great companion. Eventually, we settled on a spot near a thundercloud plum and a crabapple tree, an area that already feels like the beginning of a lovely layered landscape. Downhill from there are some wild elm trees, scraggly and ready to be replaced someday. The new maple will help shift the tone of the space, more curated, more lush. And let's talk about the chitalpa for a moment. It's absolutely dreamy. This strawberry moon variety reaches 40 feet tall and 35 feet wide. Zone 6 hardy, it promises fragrant blooms and visual delight. I didn't even know about this tree before, now I can't imagine the garden without it. With the auger roaring to life, we begin digging. The soil is still wonderfully moist, a gardener's dream. Autumn blaze maples can grow up to 50 feet tall and 40 feet wide, and they're tough, rated hardy down to zone 3. But there's one catch: our area's alkaline soil. That means we'll need to treat these trees with chelated iron to prevent chlorosis, where the leaves yellow but the veins stay green. It's preventable, and we're proactive, treating regularly to keep the foliage lush and happy. Wind direction is on our side too. With prevailing winds from the west, fall leaves will blow neatly into the ditch for easy cleanup. Placement really is everything. Then there's the consideration of the horses. Autumn blaze is a hybrid between red and silver maple. Red maples can be toxic to horses when their leaves dry and begin to decompose. Fortunately, hybridization may reduce this risk, and we've consulted many horse owners who've had no issues, even with maples right in the paddocks. Still, we're cautious. Our layout allows us to rotate the horses to the back paddocks during leaf fall, giving us time to clear out any potential hazards. It's all part of building a safe, beautiful, and functional space. Our property line is defined by a deep irrigation ditch, but we don't want that to be a dead zone. Instead, we're planning to create a lush, evergreen border behind it, a green curtain of texture and privacy. The new maple will sit near the edge, with enough room left behind for a stately evergreen and some thinner trees to complete the backdrop. And finally, the violas. After all the heavy lifting, there's something so sweet and satisfying about dotting the beds with soft, cheerful blooms. Their faces seem to smile up at you, like little bursts of joy. It's the perfect way to wrap up a day of planting, a blend of grand trees and tiny petals, strength and softness. That's the beauty of gardening. It's not just about what you plant, but the story you're writing with each shovel of soil. From shade trees that will tower for decades to violas that charm in the moment, every piece plays a part. And today, that story got a whole lot